Little girl rescues neglected dog from the market. You won't believe how he changed her life. In a small town filled with bustling markets and friendly neighbors, a chance encounter between a young girl and a neglected dog sets the stage for a remarkable journey. This is the story of Ava and her beloved dog, Max, a tale of resilience, love, and the unbreakable bond between a child and her furry friend. Across 3 chapters, we'll follow their journey of rescue, healing, and transformation. Get ready for an emotional and inspiring story that will warm your heart and leave you cheering for their triumph. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the small town of Millfield, a quaint and lively place where every Saturday, the townsfolk gathered at the bustling farmers' market. The cobblestone streets were lined with stalls offering fresh produce, handmade crafts, and an array of colorful goods. For 8-year-old Ava Thompson, this market was her favorite part of the week. Hand in hand with her mother, Sarah, and her father, James, Ava wandered past the stalls, her eyes wide with wonder. Vendors called out cheerfully, their voices blending with the chatter of families and the occasional bark of a dog. Ava loved everything about the market, the vibrant sights, the delicious smells, and the friendly faces. But this particular Saturday, something different caught Ava's attention. As they walked near the edge of the market, where the crowd thinned out, Ava noticed a dog tied to a weathered wooden post near a cluttered stall. The dog's fur was tangled and dirty, its golden color dulled by neglect. Its body was thin, ribs visible beneath its matted coat, and its eyes, those tired, sorrowful eyes, seemed to pierce straight into Ava's heart. "Mom," Ava said, tugging at Sarah's sleeve, "look over there, that dog, he looks so sad." Sarah followed her daughter's gaze and frowned. "Oh, sweetheart, he does look like he's been through a lot. But we don't know if he belongs to someone. I want to see him," Ava said, already moving closer. "Stay close to me," Sarah cautioned, glancing at James, who nodded in quiet agreement. As they approached, Ava crouched down a few feet away from the dog. She knew better than to rush in and startle him. "Hi, buddy," she said softly, her voice gentle and soothing. "It's okay, I'm not going to hurt you." The dog's ears twitched at her voice, and he lifted his head slightly, sniffing the air cautiously. He didn't move away, but his posture remained tense. Ava extended her hand, palm up, letting him come to her if he wanted. "Be careful, Ava," James warned, watching intently. "He might be scared." "I'm being careful," Ava replied without taking her eyes off the dog. After a moment, the dog leaned forward slightly, his nose brushing her fingers. Ava's heart swelled with a mixture of sadness and hope. She could see that he wanted to trust her but was held back by fear. Nearby, the vendor running the stall, a burly man with a gruff demeanor, noticed Ava's interaction. "Hey, kid, don't bother with that dog," he called out. "He's no good." Ava looked up at him, her brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" she asked. The man shrugged, wiping his hands on his apron. "He's useless, eats too much, doesn't listen, and he's been sick off and on. Nobody wants him. I've tried to get rid of him, but no takers." Ava felt a surge of anger and sadness. "That's not fair," she said. "He's not useless. He just needs someone to care about him." The man laughed humorlessly. "You want him? Be my guest. Save me the trouble." "Really?" Ava's eyes lit up, but her parents exchanged hesitant looks. "Ava," Sarah said gently, "taking care of a dog is a big responsibility, especially one who's been neglected. He might need medical care, and it won't be easy." "I don't care," Ava said, her voice firm. "He deserves a chance. Please, Mom, please. Dad, we can help him. James knelt beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. Are you sure, Ava? If we take him, he'll be part of our family. You'll have to help take care of him every day. Ava nodded without hesitation. I'll do whatever it takes. I promise. After a moment of deliberation, James sighed and stood up. All right, he said, let's talk to the man. The vendor was more than willing to hand over the dog. You're doing me a favor, he said gruffly. Good luck with him. Ava carefully untied the rope from the post and crouched down beside the dog. It's okay, boy, she whispered. You're coming home with us now. The dog looked up at her, his tired eyes softening just a little. Ava stroked his head gently, feeling a flicker of trust pass between them. What should we call him? James asked as they walked back to their car. Max, Ava said after a moment's thought. He looks like a Max. As they drove home, Max lay on the floor of the car, his head resting on Ava's lap. She stroked his fur, humming softly to him. It was as though he knew he was finally safe. But Ava didn't realize that bringing Max home was only the beginning of a journey that would test her patience, courage, and love in ways she had never imagined. In the coming weeks, Ava and her family would discover just how much Max had been through, and how much healing he still needed. The first days with Max in the Thompson household were both heartwarming and challenging. As they pulled into their driveway that afternoon, Ava gently guided Max out of the car. He hesitated, his paws trembling on the pavement as if the simple act of walking into a home was foreign to him. Ava knelt beside him, stroking his head. It's okay, Max, she whispered. This is your home now. Max looked at her, his eyes filled with uncertainty. But he allowed her to lead him inside. The Thompsons had prepared a cozy corner in the living room with a soft blanket and a new dog bed. Ava had picked out a bright blue bowl for Max's water, eager to make him feel welcome. But as soon as they stepped inside, Max froze, his tail tucked between his legs, his ears flattened, and he whimpered softly. Give him some space, James advised gently. He's probably overwhelmed. Over the next few hours, Max barely moved from his spot by the door. He flinched at sudden noises, like the clattering of dishes or the hum of the vacuum cleaner. Ava sat nearby, talking to him in a soothing voice. I'm not going anywhere, Max, she said, reading aloud from one of her favorite books. You're safe here. But safety didn't come easily for Max. That night, as the family gathered for dinner, they heard a sharp yelp. Rushing to the living room, they found Max cowering under the table, his body trembling. Ava's heart broke at the sight. What scared him? Sarah asked, looking around. Could be anything, James replied with a sigh. He's been through so much. It's going to take time. The following week revealed the depth of Max's trauma. He avoided the rest of the family, only seeking comfort in Ava's presence. If anyone else approached too quickly, Max would growl softly or retreat to his corner. Ava was patient, spending hours sitting quietly by his side, letting him come to her on his terms. Slowly, he began to trust her. He'd rest his head on her lap as she read stories or spoke softly about her day. But his unpredictable behavior worried Sarah and James. Max would sometimes bark furiously at strangers passing by the house, or growl if he felt cornered. Walking him outside was a challenge. He pulled at the leash, barking at shadows or freezing mid-step. One afternoon, a jogger passed too close, and Max lunged, barking wildly. Ava held onto his leash with all her might. The jogger looked startled but continued on. That's it, Sarah said firmly. We need help. The Thompsons reached out to Dr. Rebecca Hart, a renowned animal behaviorist who specialized in rehabilitating rescue dogs. Dr. Hart visited their home a few days later, her calm demeanor immediately putting the family at ease. Max, however, was wary. He barked and backed away as Dr. Hart entered. She crouched down, keeping her distance, and observed him carefully. "This boy has been through a lot," she said thoughtfully. "His reactions suggest he's experienced severe neglect, possibly abuse. It's going to take time, patience, and consistency to help him feel secure." Dr. Hart provided a detailed plan. Positive reinforcement, reward calm behavior with treats and praise. Desensitization, gradually expose Max to new situations in a controlled way. Building trust, encourage interactions on Max's terms. She also recommended daily training exercises to build his confidence and a safe space where Max could retreat if he felt overwhelmed. The first few weeks of training were exhausting. Ava and her family spent hours working with Max. There were setbacks, he'd growl or snap when startled, and sometimes he refused to eat. But there were also moments of hope. One morning, as Ava sat in the backyard tossing a ball, Max cautiously approached. He sniffed the ball, then nudged it with his nose. Ava held her breath. "Do you want to play, Max?" she asked excitedly. She gently rolled the ball toward him. Max hesitated, then picked it up in his mouth. His tail gave a hesitant wag. "Good boy, Max," Ava cheered. It was the first time Max had initiated play, and it felt like a breakthrough. Just as Max began to show progress, the family's joy was interrupted by an unsettling encounter. One evening, as Ava and Max were walking in the neighborhood, a familiar figure appeared, Tom, the vendor who had once neglected Max. "Well, look who it is," Tom sneered, his eyes narrowing as he recognized the dog. Max froze, his body tense, his ears pinned back. He let out a low growl, positioning himself protectively in front of Ava. "Tom," Ava said, her voice trembling, "that dog belongs to me." Tom said sharply, "You had no right to take him." Ava tightened her grip on Max's leash. "He's my dog now," she said firmly. "You didn't take care of him." Tom stepped closer, his voice low and threatening. "I didn't give you permission to take him. I could report you for stealing." Ava's heart raced, but she refused to back down. "Go ahead," she said, her voice steady. "We have proof of how you treated him." Tom glared at her for a moment before turning and walking away, muttering under his breath. When Ava returned home, she recounted the incident to her parents. James's jaw tightened, and Sarah's face paled with worry. "This isn't over," James said grimly. "We need to make sure he can't take Max from us." The next day, the Thompsons began gathering evidence to protect Max. They compiled vet records, photos of Max's condition when they first brought him home, and Dr. Hart's notes on his progress. Ava wrote a heartfelt letter describing her bond with Max and the changes she had seen in him. "Max saved me," she wrote. "When I'm with him, I feel brave. Please don't let anyone take him away from me." The family also contacted a lawyer to explore their legal options. Despite the looming threat, Ava continued to focus on Max's recovery. They spent hours in the backyard practicing commands and playing fetch. With each passing day, Max grew more confident and affectionate, wagging his tail more often and even curling up beside Ava at night. But the memory of Tom's threats lingered, casting a shadow over their progress. The Thompson family's days became a whirlwind of preparation and vigilance after their unsettling encounter with Tom. Ava refused to let the fear of losing Max dampen her bond with him. But she could sense her parents' worry. James spent hours on the phone with their lawyer, Sarah double-checked every piece of evidence they'd gathered. And Ava found herself reading bedtime stories to Max longer than usual, as if reassuring both him and herself that everything would be okay. But deep down, Ava knew that Tom wasn't going to give up easily. A few weeks later, the local agility competition finally arrived, a much-anticipated event for Ava and Max. It was more than just a fun outing. It was a chance to show the world how far Max had come under their care. The Thompson family hoped it would also serve as undeniable proof of his transformation. The park was alive with excitement. Tents and booths lined the grassy field, and the air was filled with the sounds of barking dogs and laughing children. Ava led Max through the crowd, her hands gripping his leash tightly. She'd spent weeks practicing with Max, and despite his initial struggles, he had grown more confident with every session. "Ready, Max?" she whispered, kneeling beside him. His ears perked up, and his tail wagged faintly. "Don't worry," James said, placing a reassuring hand on Ava's shoulder. "Just have fun out there." When their turn was announced, Ava's heart raced as they stepped onto the course. The crowd grew silent, anticipation thick in the air. Ava took a deep breath, gave Max a gentle pat, and whispered, "We've got this." At her signal, Max bolted forward with astonishing speed. He soared over the jumps, weaved gracefully through the poles, and darted through the tunnels with precision. Ava's voice rang out with encouragement, guiding him every step of the way. By the time they crossed the finish line, the crowd erupted in applause. "He was incredible," Sarah exclaimed, clapping enthusiastically. A judge approached Ava and Max, smiling warmly. "You've done an amazing job with him," she said. "It's clear he trusts you completely." For a moment, Ava felt nothing but pride and happiness. But that joy was short-lived. As the Thompsons gathered their things, Ava noticed Tom standing near the edge of the park. His arms were crossed, and his gaze was locked on Max. Ava's stomach turned. "He's here," she whispered to her parents, her voice trembling. James's expression darkened as he spotted Tom. "Stay close to us," he said firmly. Tom approached, his voice loud enough to draw attention. "So, this is where you've been hiding my dog," he said, pointing at Max. "Your dog?" Sarah retorted, stepping protectively in front of Ava and Max. "You gave him up willingly." Tom smirked. "That was before I saw what he's capable of. He's worth something now, isn't he? I'm taking him back." A small crowd began to gather, murmurs rippling through the air. "You're not taking him anywhere," James said firmly. "We've done everything to care for him. Something you clearly failed to do." Tom sneered. "We'll see about that in court." Before anyone could respond, Max growled low and steady, his body tense as he positioned himself between Ava and Tom. His loyalty was clear, and it only fueled Tom's anger. 2 weeks later, the Thompsons found themselves in a small, packed courtroom. Ava clutched Max's leash tightly, her parents flanking her protectively. Tom sat across the room, his lawyer beside him, looking smug. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with sharp eyes, called the proceedings to order. "We are here to determine the rightful ownership of this dog. Max," she began, "both parties will present their evidence." Tom's lawyer was the first to speak. He argued that Max had been Tom's property and that Ava had taken him without proper consent. "My client only wishes to reclaim what is rightfully his," the lawyer said smoothly. When it was their turn, James stood and presented their case. He showed photos of Max's condition when they first rescued him, his matted fur, protruding ribs, and sad, lifeless eyes. The vet records painted a grim picture of neglect. detailing malnutrition and untreated medical issues. Dr. Rebecca Hart testified as an expert witness. This dog was in severe distress when the Thompsons took him in. She explained, "His recovery is a testament to their care and dedication. Returning him to his previous owner would undo all the progress." Finally, it was Ava's turn. She stepped forward nervously, holding a handwritten letter. Her voice wavered at first but grew stronger as she spoke. "Max is more than just a dog to me," she said. "He's my best friend. He saved me once when I needed him most. And I'll do everything to save him now. Please don't let him go back to someone who didn't love him." The courtroom fell silent as Ava returned to her seat, tears streaming down her face. Max nuzzled her hand, his loyalty evident to everyone present. After hours of deliberation, the judge delivered her verdict. She looked directly at Tom, her tone firm. "The evidence is overwhelming. Max was neglected and mistreated under your care. He has thrived with the Thompsons, and it is clear they have his best interests at heart. This court rules in favor of the Thompsons. Max will remain with him permanently." Ava gasped with relief, hugging Max tightly as cheers erupted from their side of the courtroom. Tom protested angrily, but the judge silenced him with a glare. "Furthermore," she added, "an investigation into your treatment of animals will be conducted. If further evidence of neglect is found, appropriate action will be taken." Tom stormed out, defeated, while the Thompsons celebrated their victory. Life returned to normal for Ava and Max, though their bond was stronger than ever. Max continued to excel in agility training, becoming a star in their community. But more importantly, he became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that love and kindness could heal even the deepest scars. One bright morning, as Ava played fetch with Max in their backyard, Sarah and James watched from the porch. "Think about how far he's come," Sarah said, smiling. "And how far Ava's come, too," James added. "She never gave up on him." Max bounded back to Ava, tail wagging furiously, the ball clutched in his mouth. As he dropped it at her feet, Ava knelt down and wrapped her arms around him. "You're safe now, Max," she whispered. "Forever." And for the first time, it truly felt like forever. Ava and Max's story is a testament to the power of compassion, resilience, and the incredible bond between humans and animals. From a neglected, frightened dog to a confident, loyal companion, Max's transformation reminds us of the extraordinary potential that exists in every living being, if only given a chance. Ava's unwavering love and determination not only saved Max but also brought a new sense of purpose and joy to her family. Max is now more than just a pet. He's a beloved member of the Thompson family, a protector, and a shining example of how second chances can change lives. Ava and Max's journey inspires us to look beyond appearances and see the value in every creature, no matter how broken they may seem. In a world where millions of animals suffer from neglect and abandonment, Ava and Max's story carries an important lesson. Love, patience, and kindness have the power to heal even the deepest scars. Rescuing an animal isn't always easy. It takes time, effort, and commitment, but the rewards are immeasurable. If this story touched your heart, consider how you can make a difference. Perhaps you can adopt a pet from a shelter, volunteer at an animal rescue organization, or simply spread awareness about the importance of treating animals with respect and care. To our viewers across the United States, Europe, and beyond, let's strive to build a world where no animal is left behind. Whether in big cities or small villages, every action we take can contribute to a kinder, more compassionate future. As you reflect on this story, ask yourself, Is there a way you can bring hope to an animal in need? The journey may be challenging, but the love and trust you'll gain will be worth every effort. If you've enjoyed Ava and Max's story, we encourage you to share it with your friends and family. Help us spread the message of hope and resilience. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Together, we can create a brighter future for all living beings. See you in the next story. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Ava and Max's story. We hope it inspired you and reminded you of the incredible impact kindness and love can have, not just on animals, but on all of us. If this story moved you, please consider supporting our channel. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll never miss another heartfelt story like this. By subscribing, you're not just staying connected, you're helping us spread the message of compassion and hope to more people around the world. We'd also love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you have your own rescue story? How do you think we can make the world a better place for animals? Thank you again for being a part of our community. Together, we can make a difference. See you in the next story.